around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started, it's the hardest. Talk around, don't disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. Yeah,
get your boots ready. We're about to go on a trip where we wrestle, nobody settling or calling it quits. You're here for the grit, betcha this stuff is amazing. You're stumbling, welcome to the bump in the apron. Step into it, the hardest part of the ring. Here to bring fun, yeah, and this art he is king. It's the best thing, making sure you don't tap out. Don't go soft with the hardest podcast out. And it's not just another one, it's clear. Off the rest, in this content, none contest. Take the nonsense off the steps. You know it's nothing but pure gems when it's coming off the chest. Get it? Now it's time to sit and relax. Get your mind blown away, ain't no skipping this track. Have you paying more attention, no listening gap. Get everything I ever wanted, no giving it back, yeah.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Apron Bump Podcast. I am your host of the hardest part of the ring, known in certain circles as Kyle. Sorry, I was picking off the pubes on my microphone. But we're here today. Man, golly gee willikers, we're here today to talk about some TNA. TNA Final Resolution 2006. Whew! We've made it to 2006. We're just flying by these TNA shows, huh? Started in cocksucker, do you mind? But yeah, we're just flying through these. We started in 2004 with their first pay-per-view, and now I think this is the first timeline that I covered where we covered 3 different years, other than like progress and stuff. But yeah, man, how TNA has evolved over time, just in what I've covered on this podcast is crazy. And they're making big moves at this show, very big moves. I would say. I mean, the moves that they're making are sure gonna sting. They're gonna sting. I mean, at least I think it will. I mean, I could be wrong, and then I would be eating crow. It's sting. People want more Tony Schiavone impressions from me on this podcast, so I'm here to satisfy the audience, so someone gets satisfied in my life. But anyways, TNA Final Resolution, just a fun time for TNA here, kicking off 2006. We talk about this a lot in the podcast, but man, it's such a, in a lot of ways, this is peak TNA. Don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of manure on this show. There's a lot of LOL TNA type stuff, namely the tag title match and the finish. The match actually was very fun. The finish, though, is among the stupidest finishes I've ever seen in my life for a wrestling match, but we'll get into that. And like LAX and all the shenanigans. Did you know, by the way, I had no idea. Maybe I'm the only one. LAX, the Latin American Exchange, the faction in TNA, which, by the way, debuted on Impact a few weeks before this show. They're not actually wrestling on this show. And you might be asking, well, why is that hardest part of the ring? Well, it's because one of their members no-showed the event. Can you guess which member it was? It was not Conan. It was not Homicide. And it was not Hernandez. You know why it was not Hernandez? It's because he's not here in TNA yet. I always thought Hernandez, Homicide, Conan, I thought that was the original LAX, but it is not. Apparently, before the Hernandez, it was Apollo, which I no idea. This is the first I'm hearing about it, but we get into it why you never really hear about it. Mainly because he no-shows this event, which creates a ripple effect, which is classic TNA stuff. But other than that, some great shit here. Name like the X Division in general, both like the undercard type matches, but also the X Division title scene, feud, storyline is just great shit. Because, like AJ, Joe, Daniels, the classic 3 guys that are like associated with the X Division title, at least at this point, and I guess still today. we know what they can do in the ring. We know that they can deliver in ring, have great matches every single night, no matter what combination of those three. But the storyline, and I think this is something that gets lost over time. The storyline between these three at this point is fucking incredible, dude. And we get some really fucking Samoa Joe, man, a savage, and we get a lot of good stuff in the match and the stories surrounding it on this show. So we get into that, and of course, the game changer for tits and ass wrestling. We get that on the show with the debut of Sting. Golly, suck me dry and call me Bertha. This is a big moment for TNA here, and you hear it all the time, especially when like Dixie Carter gets there. He's like, got a big announcement. This is going to change the face of TNA forever. You seemingly get that every week, but here they said that, and it was very much true, because Sting would become a major focal point for the company for years to come, and really put them on the map in a lot of ways. And lots of fun stuff from the Stinger here on this show as well. So no disappointments in the state. It's not, another Tito Ortiz type thing where he just comes out with his arms crossed. Yeah, lots to get into here, and we get into it with my guest today, from the Wrestling Index, Tim King, yes, the better TK, joins me on this show. We have a blast talking about some TNA. You can catch Tim, like I said, on the Wrestling Index. You can catch his podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Covers a lot of current day wrestling. Go to the wrestlingindex.com as well. Great website by Tim. You can find all the stuff about his podcast, but he also does blogs, other type stuff, fantasy bookings, collaborations with other podcasts, tons of stuff there. So go check out the Wrestling Index, your one-stop shop for all wrestling type shenanigans. So really good. He does really good work, Tim. Really entertaining dude, as you'll see in the episode. But yeah, what else I got for you? Apronbump.com for all my full episodes, of course. If you like the TNA episodes, I'll probably just put a link to it in the description. But you can go to my website. You can filter by category, basically, and it'll bring you to all of the TNA episodes that I've covered thus far. And again, link to that in the description if I remember. But yeah, let's get right into it, man. I'm excited. I got my call. I'm all hyped up today. I feel like I'm just shot out of a cannon. I'm sorry if I'm annoying. Just got the cocaine up my asshole. And TNA Final Resolution 2006 with myself and Tim King from the Wrestling Index.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun when you reached out to me and said we were going to cover an old TNA show. I got excited, and then I found out it was Sting's debut, and that was fucking awesome. And then Christian was relatively new, and I got to watch that passionate promo from Team 3D about coming for the NWA tag team titles that they never had before. They said they throw all 18 of their previous title reigns out to get that, which is bullshit. But they really wanted those titles nonetheless. And then even I thought I'm not a huge Abyss guy, but I think this is like earlier Abyss, and I caught later Abyss, so it was kind of cool to see him still moving well and be able to hit his spots. So that match, and I'm not a big Rhino guy either, so I went into that match thinking it wasn't going to be so hot, but that match was one of the better matches on the show, so that was kind of cool to me. And then I like seeing the first match of 6 guys. I love Roderick Strong. I'm a huge Roderick Strong mark, so seeing him so early and so young faced, and then the Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels match. I mean, cool. that was the match of the night. That was the story, right? I mean, to me, not going into it, I found out the triple threat was the match before, once the pre-match started. So I was going to be curious where that triple threat lied. So I learned that was the match, or on the pay-per-view before this. But damn, dude, that story, that match, that was good stuff. That was good storytelling. That was great. I don't know, not good. That was great stuff, man.
Yeah, this is like
this period of TNA is a lot of peaks. Like it's peak X division, in my opinion. Like the stuff with AJ, Joe, and Daniels, and the various like different combinations and how everybody's involved. Like you said, it's like the wrestling's great, obviously, but there's like an awesome story to accompany that, which is amazing. And then you got X Division, you kind of throughout the show. Then you got your hardcore stuff with Abyss and Raven and stuff like that. And then you got your main event. I mean, this whole pay-per-view is really, and you said it, I mean, it's built around Sting. This show is the Sting show with some other stuff. And I think that I feel like the show didn't really kick in, and we'll get into it, but I don't think it really kicked in until like the second half of it. It feels like there was a lot of throwaway matches on this show, but yeah, Sting, man, is definitely the main takeaway here. Were you a little Stinger growing up?
Who wasn't? I mean, you had to be crazy not to be a little Stinger. Yeah. From the blonde spikes in the face paint and the color, the colored face paints and the colored outfits and the jackets, and then Crow Sting. I mean, I even like Wolfpack Sting. Wolfpack is like one of my favorite stables of all time. I don't know, that initial stable of Wolfpack I thought was really, really cool. When Nash, Savage, Luger, Sting, and K-Dog. K-Dog was on this show.
Of course.
And he was all K-Dog. I mean, this was the start of LAX, I mean, there's so much happening on the show, and Team Canada was on it like 5 times. So like, there was so much, and I didn't even mention Raven. Raven's in a retirement match against X-Pac, and I'd be thinking like going into it, okay, I got X-Pac, cool, man, I feel good about this. Zabisco's a heel, I guess. I guess. I was surprised by that. Mm-hmm. Because at the start of the show, they were kind of hyping how Zabisco gave Aries, Shelley, and Strong the match because they had beaten Styles, Daniels, and Sabin. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, all right, well, maybe he's a face giving the heels a spot because they earned it or whatever. Were they heels? Maybe I misperceived that. Maybe Aries and Strong were the heels, but I thought they were the heels in that match because Sanjay Dutt was on the other side, so he and Sabin, so they were screaming faces to me.
No, yeah, since we're talking about it, so the opening match here, 6-man tag. You got Chris Sabin, Matt Bentley, and Sanjay Dutt versus Alex Shelley, Austin Aries, and Roddy Strong. And you're correct, they are the heels, Aries, Shelley, and Strong. And this kind of like, so the X Division's like really booming, especially because this is a period where Ring of Honor and TNA were working together like pretty fluidly, and you had a lot of guys that were prominent in Ring of Honor at this time appearing on TNA shows. And with the title scene pretty much consisting of Joe, AJ, and Daniels, like everybody else is kind of almost an afterthought sometimes. And that was kind of what the storyline was. Like Aries, Strong, and Shelley, they were pissed that they weren't getting title shots on pay-per-views or even appearing on pay-per-views altogether before this. So there was some like discontent there. So that's kind of the storyline going on here. And then you have, again, Sabin, Dutt, and Shawn Michaels' cousin, Matt Bentley, are the baby faces here. Are you a Matt Bentley fan?
Yeah, so I'm not going to lie to you. I did a good Google this morning on Matt Bentley, and I was like, oh, okay. He seems straight. I don't know too much about Matt Bentley. I'm not gonna lie. Of the 6 guys, he was definitely the one that I had to Google. The other 5 I'm very well versed and familiar with. Matt Bentley, not so much.
Yeah, he's a guy. I mean, he's like I said, he's Shawn Michaels' cousin, and that was really his gimmick. Like because he had a stint in Ring of Honor before this, and he's been in TNA since pretty much the beginning at this point. And he's a guy that's always been like. I think he is an X Division champion, former one, and he's always like kind of in the scene, but kind of an underneath guy at this point because there's like this influx of talent coming in right now, and eventually he gets kind of lost in the shuffle, and I think he pretty much retires like in 07, 08, something like that. So he doesn't have too much of a career after this. He's solid, he's solid, but really he couldn't really brush off that Shawn Michaels. Like it was just very obvious he was not as good as Shawn Michaels. I feel like that was the downfall for him, but yeah, lots of talent in this match. I mean, even the stuff they've done before this point, and then the stuff they would do after. I mean, the machine guns are in this match on opposite sides, which is fun.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah,
they even started the match out against each other, which is fun, and they're still going today. I think they faced each other on the last episode of Impact, right? But you got Tracy out there, of course, who is in a schoolgirl outfit. Does that do anything for you?
Yeah, Yeah, I was like, look at Kazarian's wife fucking hopping around in a schoolgirl outfit 16 years ago. That was really the gist of it for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, not much, not much.
Do you ever do role play? Or if you had to, I mean, what would be the role play?
That's a good one.
Are you a wrestler?
I'd make my wife be Ty Conti and I'd be Sammy Guevara. We just stick our tongues out all over the place and lick all over.
Yeah, and
she's listening on the other side of the room right now, so she's fucking all sorts of pissed off about that.
I see. I see. You can give me the real answer after this. But yeah, really solid opener here. Again, just X Division, just all the awesomeness that you would expect from it. My main takeaway here was Chris Sabin. I mean, this dude, like the drop kicks he's throwing out, especially that one in the corner where he like levitates, and then like he's so explosive in this match. Anything catch your eye in particular about this match?
Yeah, so I'm a loser. So if I'm doing something like this, I'm gonna make sure that I'm prepared, dude. So I wrote notes. So my notes from this match. Yeah. So I said it was a fun opening match. I really loved the triple team moves that we got from Shelley, Aries, and Strong.
Yes.
They had this like backbreaker, neckbreaker, foot stomp from the top rope. I thought was nasty as hell. Mm-hmm. And then I wrote Chris Sabin is good.
So good.
So clearly we're on the same page with what we were watching in that match, because that was my biggest takeaway from it.
Yeah, and I mean, he gets on a hot streak like for the rest of the year. I think he ends up winning the X Division title like pretty soon after this. I don't know, maybe it's like later in the year, but and then we get the Machine Guns in a year or two, and then it's off to the races there. But yeah, Aries and Strong, I believe they're like a team in Ring of Honor at this point. I think I have that right, but so they clearly have chemistry. I said that too. Like all the double team moves from the heel team were just so fluid. But yeah, ultimately, Tracy gets on the apron at some point. Roderick Strong grabs her by the hair, and her boyfriend Matt Bentley super kicks Roderick Strong, but this allows Alex Shelley to roll him up with the tights. Gets the win for his team, and yeah, just a solid opener. And I like this little. It's like a not just a throwaway, showcase. Like there's some storyline to it, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I got storyline from it. Tna was all over this.
Yeah,
these guys earned their chance to get onto the pay-per-view. I think he mentioned it like 4 times. So like it really stood out to me that, hey, they're trying to push these guys. And then I was thinking they better win this match in some capacity, because the way Tna is selling them, they should go over. And then they went over. So yeah, it was good, really good opener. It was fun.
Yeah, Mike Tenay definitely. I mean, throughout the show, Mike Tenay is just so great at like laying out the backstory, as if even if you just came into the show cold, like you would have complete understanding of what's going on. So, and of course, Don West.
I know literally everything. I feel like storyline wise, I was able to pick up on that show. I feel like between Tenay and the vignettes, and then even like the Shane Douglas interviews, I was able to get everything I needed to feel caught up. Like I didn't have to go on Wikipedia and Google the previous 3 pay-per-views to get caught up. I just want to go in because I didn't want to get anything spoiled for me. If I'm going to watch something like this, I want to go into it and I want to feel authentic, which it was, which I think is why I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, for sure. I'm the same way, because this is a period I've never watched. So again, yeah, like you, I like to be surprised by this. But speaking of storylines, we got one in this next match that has been drawn the fuck out for like a year at this point. So we got the James Gang. This is, of course, the team of BG James and Kip James, otherwise known as Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, versus the Diamonds in the Rough, the team of David Young and Elix Skipper. So this storyline here. Okay, so the 3 Live Crew, which first of all, are you aware of the 3 Live Crew and its members?
Oh yeah, absolutely, dude. I don't know, man. I thought they were so cool when I was younger. I was like, this is a dope ass faction, dude. Yeah, you got Road Dogg, K-Dog, and R-Truth. I mean, that's a dope ass stable.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, they were great like in the early years of TNA. But man, so Billy Gunn, he debuted in TNA almost a year ago to the date, and as soon as he debuted, there was kind of discontent within the 3 Live Crew because R-Truth, Conan, they were like, hey, Road Dogg, where does your true allegiance lie? Because we got your old tag team brother in here. And at the time, Kip James is a heel. So it's like, what side are you on? And that's literally, it was just every pay-per-view. It was like, whose side are you on? And BG's like, I'm with both of you. And that's for a year. But then eventually, so they actually eventually, like, Conan, R-Truth, they get like the trust of Kip James. Like, they all begin to trust each other, and then it becomes the 4 Live crew for a few weeks. But then Conan turns on Kip James, lays him out with a chair, lays out BG James with a chair. So Conan's out. But who's there to try to make the peace between all these guys? Well, none other than Bullet Bob Armstrong.
I thought that was so out of place, dude. Yeah, good. All right. I'm glad that you harped on that. Because I'm like, that is random as fuck.
What, you didn't expect Bullet Bob on your TNA program?
I wasn't expecting Bullet Bob to get jumped in a parking lot, and that was like the main storyline that was going to be wrapped around the 3 Live crew right now.
Ooh, well,
and I didn't expect to hear throughout the show that Bullet Bob was like R-Truth's father. I had no idea, dude. That was random as fuck. He's like a father to me. He's like a father to us. Like, how could you do that? He's like a father to us. And I was like, oh, I didn't know you were that close to Bullet Bob. But okay.
I guess, yeah. But yeah, like you said, Bullet Bob on Impact got jumped by LAX, the debut in LAX. So Conan, the leader, along with Homicide, but it's not Hernandez yet. It was Apollo originally, which is news to me. I didn't know Apollo was the original member of the LAX. Who, I don't know if you know.
Who was that? Who was Apollo? No, I had no idea who that was.
So there's not a lot to know, honestly. I think Apollo was kind of a big deal in Puerto Rico, and then he came to TNA. He was pretty prominent in the early years, but he never really. I don't think I've heard him cut a promo ever or anything. So I don't even know if he fucking speaks English. But he's like a big dude, like kind of just a generic looking guy. So he never really made it past a certain level. But Apollo was in this group, but apparently, and I had to do the research to figure this out. Apparently, Apollo no-showed this pay-per-view, and I don't think he ever appeared on TNA ever again. I think he was fired like pretty soon after this, which, deservingly so, I guess. But
and then they went, and then Hernandez came not long after, or how long did it take for that to happen?
So I'm actually not sure when Hernandez comes in, but I know before Hernandez, they replace him with Ricky Vega, who went by the name Machete. I don't know how they pronounce it. But who is another guy, just a guy that was big in Puerto Rico. But yeah, I had no idea there were so many iterations of LAX, which is hilarious. But Apollo no-showing, because they made such a big deal about this feud, about how Conan attacked Bullet Bob, and you have LAX, this new faction. But now I'm assuming the original match was supposed to be LAX versus the James Gang, but you can't do that now.
Bro, that makes so much fucking sense.
Right.
I thought this match was so out of place on this show.
Yeah,
I was like, they're sitting there hyping this feud between the 3 Live crew, and Conan had just started LAX, and then you're gonna get the random match of the Diamonds in the Rough against the James Gang like that. I felt like that was random as hell. So okay, yeah. That makes a lot of sense of that if that happened.
And the crowd, I think, was just as confused because, man, this match was cold as ice. But I mean, what else? I mean, they're back into a corner. They couldn't really do anything about it, I guess. But yeah, again, you're exactly right. It's a very random match, but they had to have some sort of replacement, I guess. So the beginning here. So again, it's the New Age Outlaws, aka the James Gang, and it just cracks me up how they're trying to like revive their New Age Outlaws shtick, like in the beginning with the promo, and they have to like create a new thing because it's a new name. And Billy Gunn can't say, "We got 2 words for you, suck it." He goes, "We got 3 words for you. Get it, got it, good." Crickets.
It was so quiet, dude. And he just like dropped like, I was like, that was another thing that was random as hell.
First of all, and Mike today even mentioned this, it's not 3 words, Billy Gunn. That's way more than 3 words. And yeah, the crowd was like, what? But because they all wanted to say suck it, but then they were just cut off at the knees, which is it was just hilarious. But yeah, the match itself, not a lot of heat to it. Elix Skipper had a few cool spots. He brought out a buckshot lariat, which I thought was pretty fun.
Yep.
But ultimately, Kip James wins with the one and only, and the James gang gets the win. So, like I said, there's kind of a cold match, but it was serviceable, I guess.
Yeah, I thought David Jones had a huge spine buster. I'm a mark for spine busters.
Oh, so yeah. That's like
anytime I can see a great one. Yeah, that was very cool to see. And then I got buckshot lariat by Skipper. I thought that was cool to see too. But yeah, that's really all I took out of that match.
I wonder if there's any "Get It, Got It" good T-shirts out there for the James gang.
I'm sure he tried it.
Probably. Yeah, if it's on eBay somewhere, I'm gonna get it and wear it on my next episode.
Hell yeah.
But we got something a little better coming up next. We got AJ Styles versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. Ooh, a young lion, this Hiroshi Tanahashi. It was what were your thoughts? I'd like to get your thoughts on it, because I had a certain expectation on this match, and I was kind of want to get your take on it.
Yeah, so I was very excited when I found out this match was on the show. I was like, holy shit, that's cool as fuck. Yeah. Another little cool feature of the show. Tanahashi was 29 at the time. They said he was the under 30 champion in New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought the match was good, but my problem with the match was that if you're gonna feature these two, I don't end it well. Having a fucking schmuck like Shannon Moore decide the finish, and I get it. So I get, you want Styles to go over. You don't want to hurt Tanahashi and have him lose clean. Mm-hmm. Shannon Moore hits Tanahashi, whatever. But at the end of the day, to me, that kind of it took it from like a 4.5, like a 4-star match, like a 3.5-star match.
Yeah, no, like you said, it makes sense, especially when you put it that way. How, neither guy gets, a clean loss here, which is fine. I get it. But it's so funny. You have AJ Styles and Hiroshi Tanahashi, which back then they were pretty big stars. But today, these guys are legends. They're two of the biggest stars in the world. Both still going today. And amongst all of this, the biggest spotlight here, the main takeaway is fucking Shannon Moore. Which is
dude, the Prince of Punk getting involved with AJ Styles and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Yeah, it kind of left a fucking sour taste in my mouth and spun my stomach a little bit. I was like, that was the ending of this match. I don't know. I thought the match was good though. I was into it. They got me into it. The crowd was into it. But yeah, Shannon Moore fucking soured the match for me.
Yeah, it was a solid match. I think they would go on to have much better matches in later years. I was here expecting like a 5-star match, and I sure got punked.
Yeah, yes, you did.
But anyways, but yeah, AJ wins with the Styles Clash, like you said. But I gotta bring up first of all the Mr. Tna Award, which was I guess an annual fan voted poll. You could go on their website and vote for who is Mr. TNA, and AJ Styles just won it. He was awarded a plaque on Impact. You got a problem with plaques?
I don't know, man. The whole thing to me is the fact that AJ Styles is feuding with Shannon Moore over a plaque that he won because Shannon Moore is stealing his plaque. I don't know. That's just
he stole his plaque, man. You don't want
to get it. You got to kill TV time.
Look, man.
Wild.
If I got a plaque, I would not want it to be stolen by a ridiculous mohawked man. So
no, I don't know. See, I just think AJ Styles is, and it's the same thing that you were thinking. You were thinking you were gonna get this 5-star classic match.
Yeah.
But Tanae said Tanahashi's he was a 6-year pro at the time. AJ was still relatively young, so I thought the match was good for what we got. But no, fuck that plaque and fuck Shannon Moore.
But man, that plaque is you brought it up. So Shannon Moore, he runs in there because he stole AJ's plaque a few weeks ago. He goes to hit AJ, hits Tanahashi in the head. That the flap on the head of Tanahashi from that plaque was brutal. But yeah, so solid match there. Always love the international flavor that TNA tried to bring to their shows back then, and they would eventually have like a whole like World X Cup, like a tournament of guys from Japan and Mexico, and like a young Okada would come in at some point and stuff like that. So they were really ahead of the curve as far as that goes.
Yes, Sonata was over there for a while too with James Storm. That's where I learned about Sonata first.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
But after that, we have change of pace here. We got Raven. So Raven and Larry Zbyszko have been feuding, which is funny, like 2006, like that they're the guys that are feuding here.
Right. So random, dude. I was like Raven and Larry with the retirement match on the line.
Yeah. So this has been going on for several months. So Raven was the NWA champion, like in the summer of 2005. He lost the title to Jeff Jarrett in some random ass house show in Canada, and Raven basically blames Larry Zbyszko for that because he's the main the authority figure, and he should have done something about it because Team Canada it was a whole thing. But so Raven and Larry Zbyszko have been going at it back and forth, and Larry's like, his life's been made a living hell by Raven, so he keeps like offering Raven like, here, take the severance package and get out of here. I can't deal with you anymore. And then every pay-per-view is like, oh, I got another guy from your past to come, take you out. Like, it was just incredible one month, and then it was fucking Chris Kanyon the next pay-per-view. So it's been like guys from Raven's past, which is a cool little thing. And it's the same case here. But in this case, if Raven loses, he's fired from TNA. And his opponent here is Sean Waltman, aka X-Pac. Whew, man. So X-Pac, low key, in 2005, had some banger ass matches in TNA. I'll go as far to say some of his best matches ever were in TNA in 2005.
No shit.
His match with AJ was really good, but then against AJ Styles, but it was still a great match. Him and Raven even had a match, which I guess is what this is kind of referencing, is a guy from his past. Yeah, X-Pac and Raven had what was it called? Like Clockwork House of Fun match. It was like a hardcore match with, a cage. But that was a really good match. And so they're kind of harping on that in this match, which I guess is no DQ. They never really mentioned it, I don't think, unless I missed it. But Raven comes out with a shopping cart as per usual with all sorts of weapons. And man, what'd you think about that shopping cart spot off the stage?
Dude, that was crazy. I definitely put that in my notes. I said the first thing I said when I saw X-Pac, I was like, oh, Raven has to be feeling good. He should be able to whoop X-Pac's match. I assumed it was a no DQ match.
Yeah.
And then I saw the shopping cart, and I was like, what a fucking weapon, man. The way X-Pac was using it against Raven. I mean, he was just fucking battering him with it.
Yeah.
I never thought that you can just abuse someone so bad with a cart. And then Raven just throws him in there like he's a little baby and just pushes him off the stage. I thought that was freaking awesome, dude. Innovative spot. I don't remember seeing it. I mean, if I did, I don't remember. I thought it was a really cool spot, and I thought that this match had no right being as good as it was. I thought it was a really fun match. I thought the ending was pretty fucked up. I don't think in a no DQ match you can put your foot on the ropes and it matters, does it? I mean, maybe I was off with my thinking there.
So my interpretation of it is always, if your foot's on the rope, you're out of bounds, and it's not a falls count anywhere match. It's a no disqualification match. So that's kind of my thinking. But
okay, yeah, that's fair. Thank you. Yeah, because I wanted to bring that up because the way the match ended, which was odd. Zbyszko, the way he counted. Anyways, I mean, I get it. I thought the story was cool. He was kind of counting for Raven, when he was pinning X-Pac. He didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
But I guess the foot on, shenanigans, man. All these shenanigans at this paper.
Tons of shenanigans.
But more shenanigans. The foot's on the rope, so Raven technically doesn't lose. What it did was someone who hasn't been watching, the show made me want to watch the next pay-per-view for sure. And I'm curious to see what Raven's story is from here.
Yeah,
foot on the rope, the no DQ thing. It was it's kind of odd, especially when you encompass what happens in the tag team title match later on in the night. But right. I thought the match, like I said, had no right being as good as it was, and it was a fun hardcore match.
Yeah, I mean, tons of fun spots in this match. You got like a Bronco Buster into a ladder, or at least an attempt, but X-Pac misses.
Yeah.
At some point, the ref gets knocked out, so Larry Zbyszko, like you mentioned, becomes the referee. I guess he can just do that. He's not counting super slow. I would have thought there'd been more of like a slow count deal when Raven was pinning and like a fast count when X-Pac was pinning, but it was pretty like consistent. But Don West seemed to think his slow was count. And he had a funny line. He was like, I had 2 birthdays by the time he finished that count.
I did hear that. Yeah, that stood out.
Don West fucking rules, man.
He's an energetic son of a bitch, dude. My God, man.
Yeah.
He was into that show, dude.
Are you a Don West fan? I feel like he got so much shit back in the day for his commentary, but I love Don West.
So I need to watch more of it. I'm a Mauro Ranallo hater. So I'm not into like the super screamy shit. Like Gus Johnson. I don't know if you watch sports and shit, but like Gus Johnson. Sometimes he does it for me. Like in big moments, I want that, but I don't need you screaming. All show, all game. Like a guy runs for 3 yards and gets a first down. Like I don't need him. Oh my God. And I feel like if I watch a lot of Don, I get annoyed with him. But I'd like to give him another opportunity because, it was one show. Like I feel like I was going off and into this as a one-off, and I thought I loved it. Consistently every week, maybe it would annoy me. One time, loved it.
Yeah, because you have Mike Tenay there for like the nuts and bolts of it, the knowledge, and you have Don West with just the pure energy. I thought they had good chemistry together.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought they did well on this show. Tanae was screaming a lot on this show too. I thought the both of them were screaming a lot. But so again, I'd have to give them. I thought they were good though. So I don't want to say that they were bad by any means, because again, they told the story and got me into the show. I knew everything that I needed to know about the show while I was watching it. A lot of it was due to the story that they were telling both before matches and during matches.
Yeah, and even here, I mean, after this match ends, like they have the emotion that like they're really just pissed, like because X-Pac, he hits the X Factor off a ladder through a table, pins Raven, but like you said, Raven's foot was on the rope, but Larry made the count anyway, and so X-Pac wins, and Raven is gone from TNA. So Larry's out here, he's just berating Raven, gets security to escort him out. He's Raven. He's walking out. He's not like kicking and screaming. He's like, "Oh, I lost, whatever." So he leaves all the way to the back. The camera follows him all the way to the parking lot, basically. Then you got Jackie Gata wobbles in, who I don't know. It felt like she didn't know how to walk in the heels that she was wearing or something. Something was off. I don't know, or maybe the tits were too big. The bolted on.
Yes, I know. I did notice that, and I was like, "Damn, okay,
man." But like fresh out the box, it looked like
not bad. Yeah.
But there's a whole like back like of like a backstory with Jackie Gata. There's like she's been screwed by TNA in some way. I think it ends up being like she was promised the job, but then Gail Kim took it instead of her or something like that. I forget. But Jackie Gata's. She like runs into Raven. Larry's there, and Jackie's like, me, Raven, we both have gotten screwed by TNA, and we're gonna fix this, or whatever she said. Then Jackie storms off, and he's like, "Come here, Grandpa," pointing at Larry Zbyszko. "I got a bone to pick with you." So it's like a weird what a cast of characters.
Well, what I got out of it was that Zbyszko and Gata were fucking, and that she had some sort of like issue, like he did her wrong or something, or like he owed her something because she like went Hollywood, like she got a role because she fucked the producer or something along those lines. That's like how I was seeing it, but I had no backstory on it, so I saw it however the fuck I wanted to see it, and that's how I chose to see it.
Going forward, I'm gonna have your backstory along with it, because I enjoy that so much more than whatever this bullshit was. But after that, we got 2 guys currently wrestling for WWE. We got Run the Truth Killings versus Bobby Roode, with Scott D'Amore, of course, Team Canada. Kind of just a throwaway match here. Nothing really stuck with me as far as the match itself. Like on Impact, they did the whole deal where Truth, he beat Bobby Roode in like 2 seconds, and then Bobby was like, "That's bullshit, I wasn't ready," and then they had a rematch right after, and then Truth beat him again in like 30 seconds. And then he's like, oh, wait, no, one more time. And then they had a third match, which Bobby Roode won. And now this is the fourth match. So and it's the whole thing's like Truth is now he's trying to get away from the 3 Live Crew drama. So he's just kind of doing his own thing. So kind of a random match here, but it was fine, I guess. I don't know. What'd you think about it?
Well, I thought it was well, first of all, I just want to say one more thing before I talk about this match.
Yeah.
In my notes, I did say Don West is so mad about Raven being gone. So yeah. I thought that was good. Like, great character work by Don West, like great emotion. So yeah, dude, Don West is good. Man, I got a lot of positive things to say about him. Yeah. And I thought Truth, it's wild, man. When he talks, he's still the same R-Truth. 16 years later, dude doesn't look like he aged a day, man. It's freaking crazy. Still entertaining as hell. I thought the match was solid in the ring. I thought Truth should have been angrier that he lost the match because Conan coming out there and basically distracting him. And I thought after the story that Tna told, which you just told, that after the third match, I don't know why these guys needed to have a fourth match, but I digress. Throwaway match for sure. The match was fine. And I wrote I was intrigued to see where the story would go with the James Gang, K-Dog, and R-Truth. Because that was the story they told after the match. It was about all of those guys.
Right. Yeah. So Brood wins with the Northern Lariat. But this is Duke. Conan at some point walks out there in the middle of the match to doesn't really do anything. He kind of just walks out, allegedly to help Truth, but Truth gets distracted, which allows Bobby Roode at the Northern Lariat. So Conan essentially costs Truth the match here. So Conan and Truth are going at it in the ring. They're kind of just, calmly, arguing, I guess, in the middle of the ring. And BG James comes out with a mic. Something about, oh man, what a family reunion we got going out here. Well, this time someone's ass is getting kicked, or some stupid shit he said. And then he goes in there, he goes to attack Conan. But then in comes Homicide without Apollo because he's not here, remember. But Homicide just gets in there like a fucking cannon and just kicks the shit out of BG James along with Conan. Truth basically just leaves. He has no part of this because, like I said, he kind of just wants to separate himself from all this drama. So Truth leaves as LAX, the 2 members of LAX beat up on BG James, but then Kip James comes out with a steel chair to make the save, runs off LAX, and then kind of a little cliffhanger there to see what happens there and who they bring in to join LAX now that Apollo's gone, I guess.
Yeah, it's cool. Good. It was a good story. I was intrigued to see where it goes next. This pay-per-view makes me want to watch the pay-per-view a lot of ways. There's a lot of good stories on here.
Yeah, very. That's one thing about TNA. Like, every level of the card had some story to it, which is like the Attitude Era did that very well. Even like the lower card guys had some sort of story, and I think a lot of times it's something that's lost in current wrestling. So yeah, some real gold from TNA in that sense for sure. But then after that, we got Rhino versus Abyss. Abyss, of course, accompanied by James Mitchell. And yeah, this is, you brought up Abyss earlier. This is definitely, I would say, peak Abyss. Definitely physically, probably from a character standpoint, hit the peak Abyss. Because eventually it would get weird. He would start talking, and then he had like his alter ego, and then he took his mask off with face paint. Like, yeah, he had a lot of weird iterations. He had like a white jumpsuit, like at some point it got really weird with Abyss. But right here, I mean, he has the black get up with the mask, and James Mitchell just accompanies his character perfectly, I think. Very, very. So at this point, Abyss is still very mysterious and a very believable monster. And Rhino, who's still relatively freshly debuted. I guess it's been a few months, but yeah. So Rhino and Abyss are going at it here. And again, there's another match where I don't think they mentioned that it was a no disqualification match, but then all of a sudden chairs get brought in and shit. It's like, I think with this match, my main takeaway here is I think it was a good match. I think it would have been better had they like really committed to the hardcore element, because it was like a few chairs, but I feel like if they really had like a brutal hardcore match, it would have stuck out amongst the other matches on this card. What did you think about it?
Yeah, I thought it was a decent match. Like I said earlier, I wasn't too big into Abyss. I thought he was weird. I didn't think he was very good in the ring. I hated his choke slam more than anything. I always thought his choke slam was weak as fuck. So going into this, and I never thought Rhino was anything special. And Rhino was like a NWA world champion, ECW world champion. He was on fucking Team WCW, ECW, when they did the Survivor Series match. So everyone thinks Rhino is this huge deal. And I never saw it. In this match, I saw Rhino do a snapmare into a running drop kick on Abyss's neck, and then a fucking running leg drop. And I was like, is Rhino wrestling right now? Is that what's going down in this? So I saw some intriguing things in this match. I enjoyed it more, just like the X-Pac and Raven match. I enjoyed this match way more than I thought I was. It was a decent match. It was nothing special. I thought Abyss's character looked really cool. Like you said, with James, the interview that they had in the vignettes, the way he was presented, all black, Texas Chainsaw Massacre mask, just yelling, just like screaming, like with James Mitchell, like James Mitchell is fucking doing his thing. The only thing I didn't like was like that weird fucking arm thing that he kept fucking doing.
I don't really know what this means.
Yeah, well, yeah, like that's all I kept doing, like, which I like. I dug that shit. You know what I mean? I dug that. Like because he looked scary in that mask. He looked scary, and then he looked good in the ring. He didn't do a choke slam, so I was very happy about that. I had to see him do a shitty choke slam to Rhino, and I liked. I love the Boss Man Slam. So seeing guys do the Boss Man Slam, he calls it the Black Hole Slam, but it's the Boss Man Slam at the end of the day. And I'm sure it was someone before it was the Boss Man Slam, but we call it the Boss Man Slam. For sure. I love the Black Hole Slam. Ending the match on the chairs, that was a good way to go. Rhino doesn't look weak that way, and Abyss was the right winner in my opinion. And this Abyss, he seemed cool.
Yeah, no, he was definitely like a really cool character at this point. I love how it's Rhino versus Abyss. You got these two monsters, and your main takeaway is that there was a cool snapmare and there was no choke slams. That's the perfect formula for a hoss battle.
What the fuck, dude?
Oh,
yeah. I just thought it was so random. Like Rhino does a snapmare to Abyss in all moves. I don't know.
You maybe fucking love snapmares. Snapmares fuck.
Rhino matches.
Yeah.
It just like, it's just like it's wrestling, baby. A snapmare takedown on the Monster Abyss with a running drop kick to the back. I was like, what am I watching? Bret Hart right now? Is this a Bret Hart match?
Have you seen that? It's like 2006 or whatever. It's Kane versus the Big Show, and they're doing like hammer locks and like kip ups and chain wrestling kind of shit. Oh, I get what you're saying. It's always like it's so out of place. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it just felt so random, but I didn't hate it, and that's cool for sure.
Yeah, that's what you want when you're watching wrestling, not to hate it. But yeah, Black Hole Slam on some like a pile of chairs for the win for Abyss. But after that, we'll talk about shenanigans. Boy, they are aplenty in this tag team title match. We got
oh my god,
AMW, America's Most Wanted, the team of Chris Harris and James Storm, versus Team 3D, Brother Ray, Brother Devon. Whoo! And of course, you got Gail Kim with AMW. And you brought the line by Bubba. He's like, we would give up all 18 of our titles just to hold the NWA titles once. I get it. You got to build up the match. I guess in some circles, the NWA title. I mean, at this point, I don't know. It's the TNA tag team titles at this point. But
right. That's what I was thinking too. I was like, why the fuck isn't it called the TNA tag titles yet? When does that go down? How long after?
I think it's pretty soon. I want to say like a year, maybe two. We're getting there. Yeah. But yeah, so they're this match here, it's a Team 3Ds. They debuted a few months ago. They were almost immediately taken out by AMW, just left bloody in the ring. They had like a whole fake funeral for them. They had a match at the last pay-per-view, which is just a pure grudge match. It was like a tables match, but the titles weren't on the line because it was, I think commentary said it wasn't about titles, it was about revenge. But like, why can't it be about both? But I digress. But now, revenge.
Love that word. I love digressing, man. I love to digress.
You stay digressing. But yeah, so we got the titles on the line here, and so it is a really fun match. I mean, this is probably like, as far as like matches go, I mean, well, the X Division title is probably the match of the night, but this one was up there too. Some really fun false finishes. Like you got like a Doomsday Device by the Dudleys. You got
I marked out hard as fuck for that one, dude.
Oh,
I got
man.
all capitals in my notes. Doomsday Device. Man, I love that shit.
Painted the walls white with that one. But
yeah, dude, because they were fucking hyping the Dudleys as the only team to win the Grand Slam of North American Championships, and I'm like, the Road Warriors have won all the same fucking titles just because they didn't win the ECW titles. Get the fuck out of here. But I digress. And the Dudleys didn't even win the WCW tag team titles in WCW. They won them in the fucking WWF, dude. Like, so what they're saying is bullshit. The Road Warriors, if anything, are the most decorated tag team with the
man.
Fuck off.
No, man. It was okay. The period in WWF in 2001 during the invasion where there was 18 different titles and every match was a title match. That was amongst all of this. At some point, the Dudleys stumbled upon the WCW tag team titles.
Yes. Yeah. So I was like, all right, well, the Road Warriors had definitely done all of this plus more in a bag of chips, but I digress. And I get where we're going with this. And the match was fucking really fun, dude. It was a good match for sure. I enjoyed it all. The Doomsday Device I marked out like crazy. My question for you, I wanted to ask you going into this was, one, is Jeff Jarrett, AMW, and the Alpha Male with Gail Kim, is that a stable? And two, is Wildcat Chris Harris more of the leader of this tag team? Like, was he the more of the alpha of the two? I always thought it was James Storm because I always knew James Storm more as TNA progressed. He was became the guy, obviously.
I mean, as far as the tag team goes, I feel like they were pretty equal at this point. But eventually, because Chris Harris and James Storm eventually would break up and they would have a feud against each other. And they were definitely positioning, from what I remember, if I'm remembering correctly, they were positioning Chris Harris as like a main eventer. Like, I think he was in a few world title match, like a King of the Mountain match or something. So they tried it with Chris Harris, but for whatever reason, never caught on. And then
that was what I got out of it. And then the other thing I got out of it was their jackets were nasty, dude. They fucking look sick, dude. They had really cool get up coming into the ring, man. So that was cool too.
Yeah,
sure.
AMW, and to answer your other question, yeah, they were. It was so the faction is Jarrett, Monty Brown, I guess, is a part of it. AMW, Team Canada is involved as well. So it's all the major.
They were all over the fucking show, dude.
Lots of cahoots.
Canadians everywhere. Eric Young, Bobby Roode. I don't know who that massive man was, but
A1?
Crazy. Is that who that was?
A1 fucking sucks, man.
Probably why I don't know who that massive man was.
No, he's literally just a guy with muscles, and that's the extent of it. But
makes sense.
But yeah, so AMW, I mean, they were like 2004, 2005, these guys were this shit. Like, they were the most over act probably in TNA. Eventually turned heel. So what I brought up, Raven losing the title in Canada, that involved AMW turning heel, and they were the ones that essentially awarded Jarrett the title, which is a reign that he's still on at this point. And Gail Kim's there as well. So yeah, it's a big old faction there.
Because they were like the big face tag team feuding with Team Canada before this, right?
Right. Yeah.
See, look at Mike today telling stories in his commentary, baby.
Look at that.
Because I didn't Wikipedia that shit. I got that from the commentary.
Yeah, it's almost like that's their job or something,
I mean, come on, dude. telling stories.
You guys. Oh, fucking Jimmy Smith on Raw. Oh, what a move.
God, man.
That's a whole other podcast itself. But yeah, so like I said, pretty fun match. Tables get involved. One gets set up on the outside, which eventually James Storm gets pushed off the top rope through, which is a fucking sick bump.
That was a sick bump, dude. He did a full backflip through the table. Yeah. But this was another match, like other matches on this show, where physical objects, foreign objects is what I meant to say, were used in front of officials. And the officials just didn't give a shit. So again, it was like another match. So I was confused, like, are we just allowed to do this kind of shit? But
I guess
whatever. It was a fun match. It was a real fun match. I'm sure you were going there. The baby powder, I was irritated about it. All right. I was like, this is bullshit. First of all, I thought it was bullshit. because I wanted to see Team 3D win that title, dude.
I was with it, man. I was with you. I was so excited at this finish, and then go ahead.
Yeah, bro, and you can go ahead too. Like, I was fucking amped. They won. I was so I marked out 16 years later watching the show. I was so excited I got to see this shit. I'm like, I get Sting's fucking debut and I get Team 3D, or the Dudley Boys. I don't know, I'm calling them Team 3D. I got the fucking Dudley Boys first NWA TNA tag team title. Like, that's big. But the way they ended that shit, so Gail Kim comes in, they got the baby powder in the ring, which took way too long as it was. Baby powder gets up in the ref's face somehow. I don't know. It ends up being a 3D. Dudley's get the win. The ref counts it out. Team Canada comes out, lays out Bubba, puts fucking James Storm, I believe, on top of Bubba, wakes the ref up. The ref thinks that he counted an AMW win, and AMW is still your tag team champions. I'm like, what the fuck and then I started to think to myself, is Russo booking this shit? And then I ask you, is Russo booking this shit? Who's booking this shit?
I don't actually think...
What the fuck is going on, bro?
I don't actually think Russo is there yet. I could be wrong, but because Dusty was there for a while, but he left early 05. I don't really know who's doing the booking at this point, but it could be Russo. If not Russo, it's somebody very influenced by Russo, because man...
How did you feel about it, dude?
Among the dumbest finishes I've ever seen in my life. I mean, because the Dudleys, they get the pin.
Ever.
A 3, because like you said, Harris, he has the powder, cocaine, whatever it is, in his hand. He's prepared to throw it in somebody's eyes, and it gets knocked. It goes everywhere. It goes in his eyes. It goes in Gail's eyes. It goes in the ref's eyes. That's very important. And then the Dudleys hit the 3D on Chris Harris. They pin him. The ref counts 3, but he can't see because he has jizz in his eye or some white substance. And it caught me off guard because they got the pinfall. Crowd goes nuts. The Dudleys go nuts. I go nuts. But then there's no music. There's no music after it, which I was like, wait a minute. There's some shenanigans afoot here. Then the Canadians, it feels like you turn on a TNA show in this period, you're going to see the Canadians rushing the ring at the end of a match at least once a show. In this case, several times a show. But they with hockey sticks. I don't know if you got this. Team Canada, they're Canadians. Canadians like hockey, so.
I assume that's why they were dressed in all red garb and had hockey jerseys on. And then when they came out to do the beatdown, they had hockey jerseys, like they were some sort of Michael Myers or Jason, variation.
The Canadians beat down the Dudleys, and then like you said, they put, I guess, Harris over one of the Dudleys, and then the ref just decides now the substance is out of his eyes. He had somebody ringside with a towel or something. But apparently that person, whoever got the dust out of his eyes, couldn't tell him who he counted. So the ref just gets up. He's like, oh, this guy's on top of this guy. I guess that means they won. So it was, very, it's like no other ref could have come out there and be like, hey, pal. Well, it wasn't them. It was these guys. But whatever. I mean, I guess they've done this before. The Dudleys, a tables match, somebody would go through the table and then but the ref's down, and then they'll put the other guy in the wreckage of the table. I think they've done that in WWF before too. So, really silly finish. But...
Yeah, I get it, dude. I get what they were trying to do. I get they're trying to tell the story, continue the story. Mm-hmm. But damn, that was so weak. That, just like the AJ Styles Tanahashi match. After this match, I was like, oh, I got that deflated feeling. You know what I mean? Yeah,
it's very little aftershock of WCW maybe still running through the mindset of whoever's booking this shit.
It was. I get why they did it, and it's creative. Yeah. In essence, I mean, that's another thing I haven't seen done before, but it is what it is. I'm gonna go watch the next pay-per-view now. I got my Impact Plus membership. Hell yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna watch the next pay-per-view now because I want to see what happens with this. And I'm gonna assume Team 3D wins the titles at that next pay-per-view. Or when's Bound for Glory coming up? When was this show? Is this an early February show?
This is January. So it's the first pay-per-view of 2006. Bound for Glory is not for another 8-10 months. So But they definitely win the titles a few times in their TNA career, so eventually they get it. But yeah, like I guess it leaves you wanting the Dudleys to destroy both AMW and Team Canada. So I guess it's good in that sense, but it's entertaining, whatever it is. And like you said, it's very unique. Like I haven't seen that finish before, so
yeah,
devil's advocate, I guess. But so we're backstage with Shane Douglas now. Which, first of all, can I get your thoughts on Shane Douglas and his interviewing skills, if you have any?
Random as fuck. I'm like, why is Shane Douglas our backstage interviewer of all the people in the world? You have Shane Douglas as your backstage. I don't know. I don't think he did a bad job.
Yeah.
I thought he was fine. I just thought it was incredibly random that he, of all people, like watching his peers like Raven, Rhino, the Dudleys, out there performing, doing their thing still. And then he's just doing like some backstage interview role. It felt weird. You know, he's a former champion on many levels, and he's just relegated to that role. I thought he did a fine job. I thought it was weird, and I didn't necessarily like it.
Yeah, I wonder, I mean, I don't know like what his like physical status is at this point, but it seemed like he could go. It seemed like he was in pretty good shape. So it's like he's not wrestling, but Raven is. Like, I don't know. But we're backstage with Shane Douglas here. He's with Jeff Jarrett and Monty Brown. Really just a great promo by both guys. Personally, I thought, because Jarrett, like, say what you want about Jeff Jarrett, that dude can cut a promo when he wants to. And he's bringing up, because like you said, Christian, he's still newly debuted. And I love Jarrett's referencing like storylines from WWE where Christian, he like backstabbed Chris Jericho, who he was teaming with like a year before this, and then a few years before this, he backstabbed Edge, his longtime partner, which is still calling his brother, which I thought was pretty funny. That's canon even in TNA. But
no shit,
yeah. But basically, I guess this serves the purpose of planting seeds of mistrust, like in the team of Christian and Sting, who are going to be teaming together in the main event. So. And then Monty Brown does his whole thing. Like, I don't even know what he said, but I loved every bit of it. What do you think of Monty Brown? I don't know how much of him you've seen before.
All right. So first and foremost, I thought Jarrett's promo was off a little bit. I've seen him cut better. I do love how he referenced Christian in his WWE stuff, because I was like, damn, TNA just sitting here dropping WWE shit in the middle of their pay-per-view right about to go into their co-main events. That's cool.
Yeah.
Like they just don't give a fuck. And like they keep that story like canon, as you said. And then Monty Brown was fucking awesome, dude. I thought I always went back in those days when I watched, I enjoyed him. I thought Monty Brown was fucking awesome. I thought he was a super freak. I thought he was a talent. I watched this show and I was so entertained by his character, dude. All the different voices he did, it just made me laugh.
Yeah.
And he was so aggressive, and he's just a fucking big, monstrous man. And it got me thinking to myself, like, why was it? And then I watched the main event, and we'll talk about it later, but I thought he was fine in ring. So I don't know what happened. Why wasn't he more of a thing? I guess.
I wake up every morning, and the first thought I have every morning when I wake up is, why wasn't Monty Brown a bigger deal in wrestling? Because
dude, what the fuck, man? It looked like Big E. Very reminiscent of Big E, dude.
Yeah. I mean, Monty Brown, he had, his character was so unique and so entertaining. They definitely missed the boat on Monty Brown, because he would be in TNA for a little bit. I mean, at this point, he's kind of just like the second to Jeff Jarrett, which he's in the main event, so like there's worse places to be. But like,
yeah, for sure. Jeff Jarrett looking like fucking Tiger King and shit is the first thing I said to you when I watched the first 3 minutes of this, and I was like, oh, look at Jeff Jarrett looking like Tiger King and shit back in 2006. It's crazy, like just like him.
I had that in my mind when I turned the show on. I was like, yep, he's exactly right. That's Joe Exotic right there.
Yeah, and I didn't even mean like alpha male reminds me of Big E just because they're two big monstrous black dudes. But just like the character, bro, the way he was fucking doing his voices and hopping around and just moving, the energy, like, yeah, that is like that's hard to replicate, man. And I'm watching this and I'm just like, all right, maybe he's not a good worker. And then I watched the main event and I'm like, he is a fine worker. I do remember they tried pushing him for the world title at some point. I could be wrong, You got me wanting to go back watching these shows. Like I want to see what happens. So
yeah, I mean,
maybe I'll see what happens.
He was. I mean, he was in the world title scene 2005, 2004. Never won the title.
So before this. So it was before this.
Yep.
And then he went to WWE in like 2006, 7, right?
Yeah.
8.
Yeah, 2006, 2007, somewhere in there. But yeah, I don't think he would never be in the world title picture ever again. I could be wrong on that. But with like Sting coming in, Kurt Angle, you got this is when all the WWE guys start coming in, and it gets lost in the shuffle, unfortunately. Somehow.
How disappointing. I might start waking up with that same thought, dude.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Didn't Monty Brown, the alpha male, do more in this industry? That's fucking crazy. But he reminded me a lot of Keith Lee too. Not personality wise, very different personality wise, but just that pounce and the way he can kind of move in the ring. So that pounce is sick, dude. That's fucking nasty.
Dude, people try to replicate it, but nobody can do it like Monty Brown did it back in the day. I mean, he was the best. I mean, it was just like a former football player. Like that's the perfect finisher for a guy. Like it like on paper, it sounds stupid. Like, oh, just a shoulder block, but and the execution of it just looks like it obliterates the guy every time.
Disgusting, bro. Disgusting.
But man, we got some fire up next. So we got the X Division Championship on the line. The champion, Samoa Joe, versus Christopher Daniels. Whew. This was good. This was just really, I mean, just a smooth match, I guess is how I would phrase it. And the backstory behind it. So Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, AJ Styles, these three have been in the title picture for a few months. They had their three-way at Unbreakable a few months before this. And I think they would actually have a rematch of that three-way at the next pay-per-view, if I remember correctly. But Daniels and AJ, basically, I guess Joe is the outlier here because he's kind of like the savage is how he's portrayed. He doesn't care about the code. It's like the code of honor and ring of honor is kind of like what they have here is like you shake hands before and after the match. There's no shenanigans. No, like the world title scene, you have all the interference and the weapons and the baby powder and all that shit. X Division's very much like this is the pure wrestling on the show. But Samoa Joe, he'll bring in chairs, he'll low blow people, he'll attack after the bell. Like he's just a savage. I mean, he looked like a beast here. And
my God, dude.
Yeah. What'd you think about watching a young Samoa Joe here?
Bro, so like I was so fucking jazzed going into this match. I'm looking at my notes again, and it says I'm so fucking pumped going into this match. Like the vignettes, the story that they were telling. I was just fucking excited. Samoa Joe undefeated 7 months in AEW. God, I'm an asshole. Samoa Joe undefeated 7 months in fucking TNA. The way you just described him was the way they described him, just like a fucking savage killer. And that's what he looked like. He came out and he just looked. That's the Samoa Joe that I remember. Fierce. He was lean. Like he was still big. But he wasn't like he is now. Like he's out of shape now, and he's older. 16 years later, I can't blame him for being out of shape. But dude was a machine, man, and he looked crisp. His moves were sharp. This match was physical. Christopher Daniels, I was never into. I was very into him in this match. He had me going with the story. I thought he was great. They told an awesome story together, and I literally thought Samoa Joe fucking killed Christopher Daniels, dude. I was like watching this match and I was like looked at my wife and I was like, I swear to God, I think Samoa Joe just killed this man. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, he just like battered this guy to an oblivion. And it just made you feel bad for Christopher Daniels. It made you feel like Samoa Joe was unstoppable. And it made me really think that and AJ Styles threw the towel in to end the match. And it made me really think that we're going to get this Samoa Joe AJ Styles match for the X Division title, and it's going to be huge. Maybe I'm wrong.
So
I think that's where we're going.
So AJ and Joe actually had matches. They had a match at the previous pay-per-view, I believe, Turning Point. Go watch that match. If you go back and watch any TNA, go watch Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles. Actually, they've had 2 pay-per-view matches. Watch both of them. They're both incredible. This match is very good too. I don't know if it matched the level of Joe and AJ, but it was still very good. But the brutality at the end, man, like you said. So Joe And they're playing off of how this kind of all initially started. Joe gave Daniels a concussion at some point. I forget if it was Impact or if it was on a pay-per-view, but Daniels was out for like a month due to a concussion. But he's back here, and it's like a question of, are you recovered? Are you still concussed? What is it? So Joe, it's like a back and forth match. You got like Uranagi's best moonsault ever. You got all of Joe's classic moves just done to like you said, a crisp way. The power bombs, the kicks. Oh God, so good.
Crisp. Just like Chris Sabin earlier in the night. Dude, Joe was executing at a fucking level, man.
Yeah. And then Daniels even does this crazy like slingshot elbow to the outside. Like
in my notes, slingshot elbow. That was disgusting, dude.
Dude, just a straight up.
I didn't mean to cut you. I got hyped for that, dude. This match was awesome, man. Like this match really got me invested. Like this was wrestling. This was storytelling at its finest.
Yeah. And then it all kind of comes to a halt when they're fighting on the outside. And then we get this spot that Joe would kind of become known for. He sits Christopher Daniels on a chair on the outside up against the steel barricade, does a face wash kick into the barricade. Daniels is busted open. He's basically, I don't know if they're alluding that he's got another concussion. That's basically the story here. Joe with the brutal elbows to the head, brings him in the ring, and he fucking punts the shit out of Daniels, kicks him right in the head several times. And then Daniels is prone face down on the mat, blood everywhere. Joe with the most brutal knees I've ever seen, just right on the top of the dome of Daniels, just relentless. And AJ Styles comes out with a towel, and Joe is he could pin him, but he's not going to, because he wants to end Daniels' career here, is basically the story. So it's knee after knee after knee to the head of Daniels. And then AJ, like you said, eventually throws in the towel, and Joe gets the win, I guess by TKO technically, but man. And then commentaries, there's another occurrence where commentaries is like pissed at Joe. He's like, God damn it, Joe, there's a code. You didn't have to do the commentary accompanied it perfectly. But yeah, it's great shit. Great shit.
Yeah, this was another match that I said Tna and West just killed it.
Yeah,
they were awesome. Everything about this match was great. There was no shenanigans. It was the story going into it was good. The match itself was great. The ending, like Joe killed that man. I swear to God, Samoa Joe killed Christopher Daniels back in 2006. I don't know what he's doing on our screen still nowadays. He died in 2006. I saw it. That was fucking crazy, bro.
Yeah,
that's the story, and that I'm curious to see where Joe goes from there. I'm curious to see who he loses the X Division title to, and who they give that first loss, or who gives him his first loss, because I'd imagine that's going to be a pretty big story.
Do you want me to tell you who gives him his first loss?
Yeah, go ahead, dude. Go ahead.
So it's Kurt Angle, and it's not until the end of this year, but it's not. So he loses the X Division title. I forget how he loses it. It might be in a
multiple man match.
Yeah. So
okay,
it might actually be the very next pay-per-view. Because I know.
Okay, because they want to push him to the next level. When does Kurt Angle come in?
Bound for Glory, I think, is where he debuts. I think he's just like an enforcer there, but that's in October. Okay. And then they have a match at the next pay-per-view, Joe and Angle, and that's where Joe loses for the first time, I believe, if I remember correctly.
So in this year, the debut, Christian, Dudley's, Rhino, Sting, Kurt Angle are pushing AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and Christopher Daniels. Man, that's fucking nasty ass roster, bro.
Dude, I saw like an image on Twitter like recently. It was just a picture of the roster, like from their website, and it's like the names on this roster. I mean, crazy. I mean, even like the X Division match in the opener, like Alt Raven, everybody, Abyss, just Sabu's hanging around somewhere. Like, it's
crazy roster, bro. I was like, holy shit, this fucking Impact in 2006 is stacked, and this is like pre-main event Mafia days. So it's before they bring those guys in.
Yeah, I would say the 2006 to like 2009 is like peak TNA easily. I mean, just great stuff all around. But well, that brings us to the main event. This is what everybody came to see. So we got a tag team match. Jeff Jarrett and the alpha male Monty Brown versus the team of Christian Cage and a debuting Sting. Whoo, man. So we got a Christian promo before the match, and again he references Edge and Jericho, how he turned his back, which I thought was funny that they're really hammering that home. But that leads us into the match. And one question I have: Sting's music here,
bro.
What?
Yo, we've been on the same page all damn show,
Really?
and we're still on the same page. Verbatim, I said, "What the fuck is Sting's music? Is it some sort of like heavy metal, like rock music?"
It's not like POD to me.
I was like very, very perturbed is the word. I expected some dark lights, fucking Sting, the Crow, something along those lines. And he comes out to like heavy metal music or rock music. I'm not like a huge music genre guy, so maybe you can describe it better. But I was very fucking thrown off, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's very like this is like a POD, like whatever that genre is, like rock, some sort of rock. But he would go on to have, I don't know, it was just like some instrumental, like but I don't know if they like dubbed it over it with this, which wouldn't make sense because I'm pretty sure the music he had was an in-house thing by TNA, and then they dubbed over it with a real song. I was very confused by this. It's bothering me the whole match personally, but yeah, Sting is here. Just a huge moment for TNA. They built the whole pay-per-view around it. I mean, they've been building this up since the last pay-per-view. The last pay-per-view closed with the lights went out, and in the ring there was a chair set up with the black trench coat, a bat, his boots, and then you have like the Sting symbol on the screen. So they've been building up to this for a while.
How cool. That's awesome.
Dude, Sting, I think it lived up. I mean, Sting looked like he was having fun in there. I think it looked really good in 2006. What do you think about it?
I couldn't believe it was 5 years that he was away from history. I thought he looked in shape. The music threw me off. I was like, whoa, what is going on here?
Yeah.
But yeah, it looked like he was having fun. He was into it. I don't know if I thought the crowd was loud tonight. I thought everyone in the arena looked like they were having a good time. They were all on their feet. And Sting himself in the ring looked like he was having a blast. He looked good. A lot of the stinger splashes in the corner, I thought he was getting great air on those.
Yeah, for sure. And Christian was super over as well. So I thought it was a fun team, Christian and Sting. Again, it's a main event match with Jeff Jarrett. You know you're going to get a lot of shenanigans. Gail Kim's out there because, again, she's with Jarrett and Monty and all them. At some point, she does this like crazy Rana off the apron onto Christian. Just so like quick and snappy. It looks so good.
So good. That was so good.
It's a shame there's no other like women's wrestlers at this point in TNA, but eventually we'd get there. Jarrett and Monty, again alluding to Christian's past, they go for a concerto on Christian, but Christian ducks, gets out of the way, hits a double DDT on both of them. Then Sting gets the hot tag, like he's the Stinger splashes, all the classic Sting stuff, crowd's hype. The ref takes a bump at some point. I missed exactly what happened, but eventually Sting locks in the Scorpion Deathlock on Jarrett. Jarrett eventually taps out, but there's no ref, so the match continues.
He tapped out for like 4 minutes too. It was fucking obscene, bro.
Poor Double J, man. Poor Double J in his back. Monty like fall away slams Christian into Sting to break up the Deathlock, which was fun. Then Monty Brown, he gets the NWA title, swings it at I believe Sting, and then they lay him out. And then that goddamn Team Canada's back. For the love of God, they rush the ring, but they both get. It's a fun moment where you get like a Scorpion Death Drop along with Christian's reverse DDT that he does in tandem to take out.
By God, they both got hit with DDTs.
By God, man, those mans has a family.
Jesus.
So cool moment there. And then you got Jarrett, that damn Jeff Jarrett. He has the belt, hits Sting in the face with it, gets a very close 2 count, almost gets the win there.
But yeah, and so Sting and Christian, they do like tandem stinger splashes, but they both miss. Jarrett grabs the guitar, goes to hit Christian with it, but Sting has his bat, just swings it at the guitar, explodes into a million pieces. Just a cool visual there.
That was such a dope ass fucking spot, bro. Like, so cool, dude.
Yeah. Then bat to the gut of Jarrett, Scorpion death drop, 1, 2, 3. Sting and Christian get the win. And just a real cool way to bring Sting into the fold here in TNA.
Yeah, I thought they did a great job. Like you said, the whole show is surrounded or around bringing Sting in, and it lived up to all expectations. I thought he was awesome, and it was a clean win at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
While there were all sorts of shenanigans, Sting got the 1, 2, 3. Him and Christian, while they were teased, they might fight during the match, they celebrated together, the showing off the air with those two as the victors. The two new, the meat, baby, the new steak, that fresh meat. Sting and Christian, the Dudleys, Rhino, they're all over this card. And that was the story Tna was telling. And Sting lived up to the hype. The music was weird, but he lived up to the hype. And he looked damn good. And I'm assuming he wins the title at Bound for Glory. You don't have to spoil it for me. I'm going to go back and watch. But I'd assume from my recollection back in the day, I got to think Christian's going to take that belt off Double J, lose it back to Double J. Sting's going to take it off Double J at Bound for Glory, or Sting takes it off Christian at Bound for Glory, would be my guess.
Well, I'll let you discover that. I remember what happens, but
thanks, buddy.
It's a good journey. It's a fun tale that's told by TNA. It's some good stuff. I don't really know a lot of what happens in between now and Bound for Glory, because it was really Bound for Glory 2006 when that was like around the time I really started getting into TNA. I remember a lot about Bound for Glory 2006. It was a great pay-per-view, but I don't really remember a whole lot what happened until then, so I'm looking forward to it. But
that show had a bang. Looking at this roster, and that's their WrestleMania, show had to bang.
Yeah. They had the star. I mean, we brought up the roster earlier, just top to bottom, just great shit. But yeah, we're only getting started in 2006. Any other thoughts on Final Resolution that we didn't talk about?
I really enjoyed it, dude. I enjoyed seeing a lot of guys that we still see today. It just shows how long and tenured a lot of these guys' careers are. Like Roderick Strong, AJ Styles, Bobby Roode, James Storm, The Truth, Hiroshi Tanahashi. I mean, you think about an AJ Styles versus Hiroshi Tanahashi match 16 years ago.
Yeah.
To me, it hit in the ring, but it's wild to think that was just the fourth match on a the fourth match on a pay-per-view in January was Hiroshi Tanahashi and AJ Styles. Like, I thought there was a lot of cool stuff. As a fan, I'd be excited to see where the Dudleys going forward. I'd be excited to see where the story with Christian, Sting, and Jarrett goes going forward. So great. And the X Division title is Samoa Joe. My fucking God, dude. Monster. Dude, that was amazing.
His every match he's had pretty much at this point. I mean, he had a great match against Saban a few months ago. I mean, any match you have Impact Plus, you can just throw on any Impact. You'll probably see a great Samoa Joe match. But yeah, that dude's a star. But yeah, that's about all I got, man. Thank you once again for making the time to check out this show. Come on, talk about it. Where can everybody find you in the Wrestling Index?
Yeah, bro. Well, first of all, I just want to say thanks for having me. I had a blast. When you hit me with this Impact show, I said, hell yeah. I'd love to come on the Apron Bump and talk Impact Wrestling.
Hell yeah.
TNA Wrestling, whatever it was, whatever they want to call it.
NWA TNA.
Yeah, NWA TNA at this point. You can find the Wrestling Index at thewrestlingindex.com. I got the Wrestling Index on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Anchor, you know the deal. Just do a lot of cool stuff, talking nowadays wrestling, some nostalgic wrestling. And yeah, that's it. That's where you can find me. And I had a blast, bro. Like, this was a lot of fun, dude.
Hell yeah, man. I hope you have an episode coming up where you talk about your favorite snapmares in wrestling.
I will. I should do a top 10 list of my top 10 snapmares in wrestling.
That would actually be hilarious.
A few of them off of Cash and Dax last night. They were snapmaring all over the place.
Oh man, top 25 snapmares of Dax versus Cash coming up next week, folks. You heard it here first.
So that'll bring in the viewers.
Once again, thank you to Timmy Boy for joining me on today's episode. Always a great time with Tim from the Wrestling Index. Like I said in the beginning, check out his podcast, The Wrestling Index, wherever you listen to podcasts. Also check out his website, thewrestlingindex.com. All his info in the description below. All my info as well in there. Apronbump.com for all my full episodes. Check out my merch. Give the podcast a rating or review. Spank my ass. Call me Sally. Whatever you would like to do to support the podcast, feel free. Yeah, good old times there. And is that all I got? I think that's all I got for you. I feel like nobody ever listens to this part, so I can really just fuck around if I wanted to. I mean, I could just start. I mean, I could take that panda that's behind me and just rub it all over my naked body, and nobody would ever know, probably. Maybe one day I'll try that and see if anybody notices. But for now, that'll stay an off-camera activity. So thank you guys so much for listening. Love you all. Well, you know, except the Canadians, but love most of you. Big smooches all around. Have a lovely rest of your day, rest of your night. I sometimes wonder when people listen to my podcast. Do you listen like 2 a.m. when you're falling asleep? Do you have my voice in your ear when you're like, are you on a pillow right now? All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'm hard.
The hardest, talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing I guess. Let's get it started. It's the hardest.